Hi, good morning, everyone. It's Lori-Lynn, and thank you again for being here today. And it is my mission, or my intention, being set that I can reach as many people as possible to my channel. So if you can, like and subscribe, share if you'd want to as well. I am here to inspire and to help you to live the life that you so rightfully deserve to live authentically from the heart, connected to the divine energy, the source energy, living life, loving you every minute of it, even the good, the bad, and living to your greatest potential. And so once again, the first question that you should ask yourself every morning is, what is the greatest ideal of myself today? And so with my readings, I will help to see past the illusions, to move through the blocks, so that you can live that life fully present, choosing to speak, respond, and react from a place of love, joy, and happiness. And we always want to be aligned with our highest personal intention authentically. And so last night, before I went to sleep, and I read through, kind of go through what I'm grateful for. And I know I talk a lot about blocks, and you know, the truth really is that until we can really see clearly what may be blocking us, and that really is touching down deep inside. And so it becomes, I talked a little bit about EFT yesterday, and that's tapping. And I don't personally do a lot of tapping. I just do it a little bit. I do the Ho'oponopono more, but it really became a realization of some of the things that I still am holding on to myself. And when I really realized that, it was like an aha moment. Like, now I can forgive myself because of some of the things that we may have done when we understand the reasons. And as a child, we do these things. We're always doing crazy things, but we're doing them from the place of how we feel about ourselves, or how we were made to feel about ourselves. And when we recognize this, we're the ones that gets to heal it. And so today, this morning when I first woke up, and I did a healing on some of the messages that I had held on to, and I actually hadn't realized it. And so today it's really about going back and digging down deep within, and then really saying to yourself that I love you, that I forgive you, that I'm sorry, and thank you. And thank you for understanding why we've done what we've done, for feeling the way we felt about ourselves. And I have always believed that our childhood and these things are all a part of our journey of life, that some of the things that are meant to happen to create and bring forth the greatest potential and ideal of who we are on a soul's journey. And that's why I've always been guided towards this soul's journey. Always been directed towards it, no matter what I've done. So taking the time. So let's say that there are some people that overeat, and there's some people that over-exercise. We overdo lots of things, and it's almost, we can be passionate about something, but we can also be looking at it and doing for the wrong reasons. And so that's kind of what today is about. So let's say, let's just take eating as an example. and overeating. And, you know, when you get those cravings, or some people binge eat. I know I used to do it quite a bit, and I don't do that anymore at all. But basically how I was able to, I'm going to say, stop that or work through it, come to the other side of it, was that when I was in that place of, oh, I really need a bag of chips. For me, it's salt. Either people are typically either sweet or they're salt. I'm salt. I'm salt. I love potato chips. I love popcorn. Anything with salt, the more salt, the better. And so I would justify it that I was just hungry or whatever. But then you come to realize that I don't need a whole huge bag of chips. It's just not the reality of life. So when I moved towards, let's say I was in the store, it was like, you know what, I really want those chips. And I realized that I needed to stop in that moment and, first of all, just say, no, I don't want and I don't need. And then if you're in a store, don't want to do this whole process. So then when I got home and I kind of just revisualized that process of being in the store and wanting those chips so badly, and so just kind of putting myself back into that place, and also at that time going, no, I don't want that. And then saying to myself, where am I? At what age am I? And the first thing that comes into your mind, that's typically where the block may be. So I know what my block was at that age, and it was a very young age, at about 3 years old, and I can remember why. And I really felt like I didn't belong with the group of people, which was my sister, and it's not her fault. So I'm not blaming this as myself, but not feeling like I belonged. So then that was just something that that I intercepted those feelings with. So it became an emotional eating. There's other things that happened along the way. And so, but I learned at that time, that's what I could do. That was my first point of understanding and looking at from a place of emotional eating. And so I went to this place again after I came back from the store, and then I did I love you, I forgive you, I'm sorry, please forgive me and thank you. And reminding myself that I am lovable and that I can work through that, and I have worked through that to get to the other side. So I hope that makes sense. And it takes a long time, because we all do what is necessary for us at any particular moment in time from the very best of what we've learned up until this point in our lives. And so we reach and we become angry, or we become sad, or whatever that is. But if we can dig deep down into that feeling and say, where am I? And then taking that child self and really loving that part, giving that child self, and it could have been a teenage years too, that teenage years or young, whatever age it was at, giving that part of you forgiveness for then making choices that reflect it from that point that you're still holding on to. So it's really about releasing. And I hope that made some sense, because that was just where my mind took me to last night, to really to understand. And I keep getting this card keeps appearing up to me, and it's the card of connection. And so I'll show you the card, because it came up again, and it's blue, which is always to do with. And so for me, this is an understanding of our connection with one another, and understanding how important our connections and our relationships are, and how to connect from a place of love and from unconditional love, without expectations, without conditions. And that's realistic expectations and realistic conditions, because we do have expectations of one another, and that's okay. And so it's being able to speak and have communication with one another from this place right here and now, always. Okay, so I'm going to now look at the cards that I chose from last night before I went to bed and see where we're at with those cards. And so this is the universal part of the readings. And we got the same card as we got yesterday to begin today, and that is uniquely myself. And so I guess that the reason the card is prevalent again today is because of where my thoughts were last night, and understanding that we are all, each of us, very different from one another. We are all unique individuals, all unique creations. And this is about celebrating our truth, embracing our unique, amazing, wonderful truths, and celebrating who we are. So like I said yesterday, when we realize that there's a block, and where that block came from, celebrate that. Know that you have now gained something, and you can move through something, respond differently. And we become more and more uniquely who we are. And when we're engaging with another, this is to do with connections, that they are coming forth from a totally unique set of circumstances themselves. We all do not have the same circumstances. We all have unique circumstances. So we have no idea. And you could be married to somebody for a really long time even, and not know really what's buried deep inside of ourselves, unless you open up this communication that is raw and real, getting to know one another, understanding. So you see things from your perspective, they see things from their perspective. Now, as myself, as an intuitive and as a medium and as an empath, I can see past that veil that people often wear. And it's always been there. I've always been able to do that. But the part of being the empath and connecting with those feelings, it became very difficult, because I took on those other emotions. So I had to learn to separate myself from emotions. And I also had to learn to say, is this my emotion or is this their emotion? And asking myself that brought on another awareness to say, okay, you can have it back, but I'm going to send it back to you with healing, loving, and blessing. So the card of uniquely myself is really following our own spirit and growing at our own pace. Always enjoying that experience of life, knowing that we're going to come up to periods where we may feel that, rejected, or we may feel a certain or a different way, and to work through that. Trust who you are, and that you are a reflection that is perfect for your particular journey and soul's path. And love this unique expression of who you are. Really love that person. When you know why and where, and you embrace and you forgive and you move forward, it brings on so much more happiness and joy into your life. It's amazing. And just being able to be joyful continually. My, I guess, one goal has always been is to be happy. But I had to first understand what happiness meant to me, what it looked like. Not fully, you know, to each individual did, but what it looked like to me, and what is the greatest ideal every single day, excuse me, when I wake up, of who I am. What can I bring the world today? And so that's a lot of why I started doing this YouTube channel, was to help others to find that space so that we can all live in a space of renewal, of joy, of love, of happiness, and connecting as many people as possible. Right now, it just seems to be that so many people are, you know, they're shut in, they're, you know, really aren't allowed a lot of connectivity. So how can we connect? So find the way that you can connect and do it. There is a page I belong to on Facebook, and it's about singing. And I loved to sing as a child. That was so much a big part of who I was. And I know that when I have song in my life, I am just a better person. And so that's me. But not everybody's going to be the same. So whoever you are, wherever you're from, love yourself, complete, whole. Every single piece of you, every single part of you, every single part of your journey. What did you learn from that part of your journey? What did you learn about yourself? And respect yourself and love yourself completely. Well, okay. So the next card that comes out is the card of self-renewal. As I clean up, sorry, it's kind of funny. As I clean out old energies, I have space for that which wants to be birthed into my life. And that I'm going to say that this is just how I'm connected with cards. This is how I'm connected with what I do. I'm just led to what is necessary to be talked about on a day. I don't pick these out prior to, but today is a day of self-renewal, and that's what it's about. It's renewing ourselves. It's clearing out that energy, about decluttering life, and it could be decluttering your home, decluttering your car, your workspace. Spend some time doing that. Purify your home, getting rid of things that you may have held on to that you don't need to hold on to. Let them go. Let go what's inside of yourself that just isn't working for you, that isn't reflecting who you are. You know, you may be hanging on to old clothes from when you were, you know, a younger person. What's the point if you're never going to wear them again? And let them go. That's always a reminder. Those memories can stay with you if they're good memories. Okay, but if that reminds you that when you were 18, you weighed 130 pounds and you don't weigh 130 pounds anymore, why do you want that memory around? Okay, it kind of makes sense to me. So clean out your closet, clean out your drawers, clean out your heart space, your chakras, just declutter and let go of things that no longer work for you. Find ways to create closure in relationships and end connections that no longer serve your highest good. I always end with sending out blessings, with sending out love, with sending out healing. And I know I say that a lot of times, but decluttering and releasing really should be a sacred practice, a time to reboot and renew, time to release old mindsets and outmodeled beliefs. And as humans, we are continually doing this. We're finding, you know, one day this is good for us, the next day it's not good for us. We have to try something else. And so, you know, there's so much confusion. So you really have to go back to this uniquely yourself and know what works for yourself. And so find that time. For me, it's a good time today because it's a rainy day, which we need. And so to do clean outs and cleanups and saying goodbye. And so say it's an old pair of jeans, this pair of jeans you wore that, you know, had the memories, and thank the memory for being there, for bringing you joy. But it's now time to, you know, let that go to make space for new, okay? So allow your intuition to guide you, to keep what you need to keep and to let go of what needs to be let go of. And in doing so, if you just allow your intuition to guide you, it becomes effortless and very enjoyable. It's a process where you can look back and then say, hey, yeah, that was fun. That was great. And it brings memories. So I'm not saying throw everything out. There are some things that really bring good memories. But if it brings along a memory of something that can't be again, then let it go. Let it go, okay? So that's the overall energy. And so from the next cards, and again, I don't know the name of this deck. Wow, this is about decisions. And I think we talked yesterday about priorities. And so today really is about honoring your top priorities. If it's not an absolute yes, then it's a no. So I think where that card fits in really well, and that becomes in the decluttering process, the decision is, if it's a top priority still in my life, you may come upon something that you, I did years ago, I had to do, I wrote an essay for one of my counseling courses, and I came upon, probably 20 years later, that book that I had all my lessons in it. And I reread the essay that I wrote, and it was so similar to where my beliefs are at. So I kept that. I keep that around because it really brings a lot of positivity, and a reminder to me is that this is my journey. So if it's not an absolute yes, get rid of it, okay? And wow, so the next card is Revelation. As you're going back upon your life, listen to your life. Listen to it. The right path will reveal itself. And so that means you come up with this revelation, and so much of this, the colors that I'm getting are blue, and that's about speaking your truth. Speaking with honesty, speaking from a place of love, knowing perhaps why you didn't get something that you really wanted, understanding the blocks that were there. That's really coming from that, your throat chakra, being honest and truthful with yourself, and then releasing again. And so it's about listening to your life. And then so if you're stuck in a pathway of which way to go, the right path will reveal itself to you. Okay? Well, the next card is dreams. Not blue, but it's dreams. Oh, and I wore blue today. How funny. Wow. I really don't put all this together at that time. And people that know me realize that that's what's happened. I used to work in a store, and I would do meditations at that store. And before the meditations, I would walk around and I would find different rocks, and I would put them in front of all the people that I thought were coming. And it was amazing how every person sat in front of a colored rock that was meaningful to them at that time. So I don't put this together until it doesn't all come together. But why I chose blue, which was not the color I was going to choose, but then I changed. And so there was a reason. This is about honesty. This is about clarity of my voice, clarity of my thoughts, my words, and my ideas, and bringing them to fruition, which is my dream. And when it comes to our dreams, when we remove the blocks, when we see ourselves for who we truly are, It allows us to think big, really big. And when we do this, we don't have to know how it happens. We just have to intend it and think it. There are unseen forces that are always ready to support your dreams. And those unseen forces are always out there. That's the universe. That's the energy. That's the magnetic energy, the vibrations that are all out there. Everything is energy. And so what we put out, we magnify back to us. And that's not from me. These are from the scientists that say these things, the biologists. It's all an understanding. If you can read the book, The Biology of Belief, it's phenomenal. For me, it really, truly, I finally understood so many different things. One of my huge goals in life is to really understand alchemy. I don't. I have books, but I don't quite. But I know in the back of my mind that I will one day, it'll all connect. So I do understand some of the connectivity, but not at all. Just, that's where my journey's at. Okay, so the next, I think 3 cards are from the Patch Tarot, and I believe we had this card from yesterday as well. And so this card is the 7 of Discs, I do believe, and 7's about knowledge. And it's about what we are investing our time in, and remembering that the investment is the thought, it's the cleaning out, and then it's the planting of the seed. And so we don't always see what's happening under the surface of the soil, but then one day it sprouts up and there it is. And I got proof over there of my plants that every day, as soon as I get a sprout from it, it just boggles my mind. I get really excited about it, because from this little seed that I didn't know comes this beautiful plant. I know it's supposed to be there, but it doesn't always happen. So I hope that made sense. Plant the seeds. That's what this invest, and know what you're planting, and know what you're planting is aligned with who you are and where you want to go and who you want to be. So plant those seeds. Okay, the second card, wow, is the card of the light. Which interesting is that seeds grow towards the light. You water them, you don't need to water them a lot, but they always grow towards the light. And so the card is that which we have asked for will be revealed. We just have to align with and allow that light to shine in us, through us, and all around us. And like that flower, it will blossom when it's ready to blossom. Okay, so I think we had this card yesterday as well. We're back to another disc, and it's the 5 of Discs. And the 5 of Discs is the card of loss. And what this card reminds me of when I see it in this whole thing is that sending away with blessings, seeing the loss as not a loss, as a gain, as a what have I learned? So what can I release? When I thought about it before, I would have thought about it, if I let it go, then I'll never have something again. But sometimes we need to let that go in order to bring forth the new. And so it's just sitting in a place, it's having the courage to dream big, to set our intentions, and then to sit back and come out into the sunlight, out into the light, to really grow our dreams. And the last card that I picked, I did from the spell book. And I just like this deck because it does bring upon another perspective. And today's card is the card of Neptune. And the card reads that God and planet Neptune reveal our dreams and illusions from the depths of our subconscious. And that's what really brings this whole reading together. It's once we release all of what's not necessary in our mind in that space, and we can see past and through those illusions. The illusion might have been that I was only worthy of exactly where I was, and see that it was really that fact that I thought that I was only worthy of that, and knowing that I'm worthy of more. And so that's what this card is about. And so we really want to spend time focusing on dreaming big, setting the intention, and nourishing, inspiring, and enlivening those dreams into fruition. And any unsurety will come just upon sitting and asking. And it'll just come like a wave, and a wave of inspiration. So those were the universal reading. And I have 3 decks to pick from also. So the first deck for more personal reading, you can't hardly even see it, and it's a orange calcite. This is not a calcite, but it's a blue stone, and it's sodalite maybe. It's beautiful. Blue is pile 2, and 3 is an amethyst. And so pick from pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Okay, and so I have to write this down. Pile 1 we begin with, which is the orange stone, and it just gives us a little bit of more of what we may be blocking. Oh, okay, so the first card of what we're blocking is the card of patience. Okay, so pile 1, you need to have more patience. Everything happens in time, in its own time. During that time, we may need to nurture and nourish, and know that we have planted these dreams, know that we have, we're in a period of growth, and so be patient with ourselves. And when we are being patient with ourselves, really being loving towards who we are, okay? So the card in the position of our shadow self is the card of our past lives. So perhaps this is much about looking back and understanding that you have karma within this lifetime that needs to be looked at, so that the people that you are surrounded with, connected to, there may be some things that need to be settled. And so know these people are in your lives, so to really connect with them and heal relationships. That's typically what that's about. It's about healing relationships. And so the first card was patience, and then the final card is the card of ripeness. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Know when you're ready, and you will be ready. What you've asked for, what you want for, will be revealed, and you will receive. Okay, so that's the first pile. And sorry, the second pile is the blue stone, and bring it over here. The card of what you're resisting, or what you most need to do, is to slow down, to stop, to Quit trying to surge ahead. Your journey, it's the journey, not the destination. So just slow down and learn and work through what you need to work through. So take a moment to smell the roses, to embrace all that needs to be embraced at this moment. You don't have to just throw away and get rid of. Take your time. Slow down. Slow down. Couldn't be any clearer than that. Okay, so me with no nails right now. My nails have broken off, so it's hard. Anyways, the card in the position of the it's not the reveal side, it's the other side. Okay, what you don't realize you have the courage that you actually have. That courage is within you. And so perhaps that's why you're going so fast, because if you slowed down, or you think if you slowed down, then you'll be forced to look at your life, and you're not sure whether or not you have the courage to do so, or you may not think you have the courage to dream as big because you may not feel that you're worthy enough or that you deserve all of that. And the truth is that you are worthy and deserving of that. And you have the courage to do this, to move through this. And being a major arcana card, it's saying that this is really something that you need to do, is to really get to know. You've asked to be put in a place where you can find that courage, where you can dig really deep and be courageous, okay? And that courage leads you on this great adventure that so much is going to open up to you once you've stepped back to smell the roses. You slow down to take a look at all that's around you, all that you have, to give that gratitude. You have the courage to look back, to see what and reflect upon, and know that you do have that courage, and that courage has always been within you, okay? And from that, these great lights are going to just shine in this new adventure that you know that you are worthy and deserving of, is going to be set in motion. Okay, so that is pile number 2, and pile number 3 is the amethyst. And so for those in pile number 3, what you're most resisting is the card of politics. And so the card of politics is really illusions and people that are wearing masks, and when it comes to political situation, I typically think of work, but it's not necessarily to do with work. But this can just be about you, and maybe being able to see that, you know, just with so much that's gone on, you've had to wear a mask, you've had to put on a mask, or others around you have been wearing masks. And it's now time to take that mask off and to reveal the illusions or the truth behind those masks. So to move past the politics and move into the heart space and into the connectivity with people with honesty and truth. Okay, so it's really moving away from all of that political crap. I was going to say another word, but moving away from that, taking off that mask and revealing who you truly are, and seeing that that person is really far more beautiful than you ever thought or believed. Okay, And so the card of the shadow side is the card of totality. And it's really seeing how the connectivity of how everything is connected, how our life flows, and how we have needed every single step to get to here. And so it's understanding we wouldn't be who we were, even if we don't like that place where we're at, but needing to get to here to move towards the next step, to lead us towards the next road that we need to journey upon. But that there's that whole totality that we need to connect with our inner self, with that love. We need to love ourselves. If there's a disconnect, we need to connect with that. It's so important. And connecting with all of the people, and it may be about looking back and seeing the people that we have surrounded ourselves with reflected who or what we thought of ourselves. And if we didn't think highly of ourselves, we may have, connected with people that were a little bit more shady, that also didn't reveal themselves. And, this can bring a lot of people that are angry or, doubting themselves. It's because we need to take off that mask and see how everything connected to each step. And then all of a sudden we may run into somebody that's able to see past that, who connects us to somebody that can change a lot of what's necessary for us, to move forward in our life. And the final reveal card is the card of letting go. And so with that is about letting go of our old self in order to, and not hanging on to it, letting go of it, embracing it as much as we can. We may need to spend the day crying and understanding and seeing, and then letting it all go so that we can open up to a totally new, vivacious, beautiful self. Okay? So there's lots of work that needs to be done within today. And okay, I just need to share this card. On the bottom of the deck is the card of comparison. And so when we first started out, it really was about finding ourselves and being uniquely who we are, and connecting with that person and celebrating that person and renewing ourselves. So in that, whichever deck you chose, pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, or if you chose all of them, it doesn't matter to me. Take the time to identify and to see yourself as uniquely, as special, who you are in your own life. So this is a time of self-renewal, of changing your story, of moving on to a different phase in your life. Okay, so God bless. Namaste. Have an incredible day and a wonderful journey today. Much love and many blessings to you all.